mynews.studio.
Picture this: a courtroom in The Hague, the world tuned in, and a decision that could shift how we approach climate change. Can a single ruling really change the planet's future?
As of today, July 25th, 2025, the International Court of Justice has issued what many are already calling a landmark opinion. For the first time, the world's highest court says states are legally required to prevent climate harm, not just encouraged, required. Why is this so important right now?
Until this point, climate action depended mostly on political will. Governments made promises, some followed through, many didn't. Now, though, there's a defined legal responsibility. The courts made it clear: states must act urgently, work together, and even repair environmental damage that's already happened. What's different is that these duties are now anchored in international law, both environmental and human rights law.
So this isn't just about signing the Paris Agreement or delivering speeches at the UN anymore. There are binding legal standards now. The court even said that failing to act, like continuing fossil fuel production or offering subsidies, could be seen as an internationally wrongful act. That would mean states could be held liable. But is this actually enforceable?
It's advisory, so not enforceable in the way a criminal sentence would be, but it's still significant. It sets a precedent that courts, nationally and regionally, can now use. It also gives citizens, campaigners, and even countries more leverage to bring legal cases if governments fall short. Judges everywhere can now look to this opinion to decide if climate policies measure up.
That's a real change. For years, countries with high emissions could argue that climate measures were voluntary or that treaties didn't apply. This closes off those arguments. Even countries not signed up to major climate treaties are still accountable under customary international law and human rights obligations. Does this mean we'll see a surge in lawsuits?
Definitely. This ruling strengthens the basis for both ongoing and future climate lawsuits. Hundreds of cases are already active around the world, and now claimants can point to a clear legal duty for governments to prevent climate harm. It's not only about preventing future damage. States are also called to repair harm already done and to regulate private actors, including fossil fuel companies.
That's a big development. The court also acknowledged climate change as an existential threat. They mentioned forced displacement, threats to life. But what practical systems exist right now to hold states accountable? Are their institutions ready for this?
Right now, enforcement is a mix of different systems: international, regional, and national. But this opinion strengthens the legal footing for all of them. There's a push for stronger frameworks, independent monitoring, clearer reporting, and ways to provide reparations. International bodies like the UN Human Rights Council can now use this opinion to apply more pressure on countries.
And for communities most affected by climate change, this is a new resource. They can now demand remedies, not just promises. How does this shift things for advocacy groups?
It's a roadmap for campaigners. They can press lawmakers to update national laws to match these new international duties. It also signals to judges everywhere: climate harm is something that can and should be addressed under international law. Governments can be held to account both domestically and globally.
Even though the opinion isn't directly enforceable, its influence is already clear. It will guide future court decisions, shape legislation, and affect climate policy. Do you see this as a turning point for global climate action?
It's a foundational change. By making climate action a legal duty, the court has shifted the discussion beyond politics. Now, individuals and nations have firm legal grounds to demand accountability. The message to governments is clear. It's time to act, and to do so quickly.
So just to sum up, the International Court of Justice has set out that preventing climate harm is a legal obligation. States have to act, cooperate, and repair. Major emitters face new legal risks, and activists have an additional tool to hold them accountable. What comes next could shape climate policy for years.
Thanks for listening. This episode was brought to you by mynews.studio. Try it out for free.